Hello dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition we are going to talk about the role of the African Bank and the amount of 350 billion US dollar gross target for the African Bank, which was set by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. And we'll start with this report where the Egyptian Agency for Partnership for Development and the National Training Academy, the NTA, organized a workshop titled How to Become an Effective Leader for 15 African trainees participating in a program on the hydraulic modeling and river management, held in cooperation with the Hydraulic Research Institute of the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. More details in the following story.
The Egyptian Agency of Partnership for Development and the National Training Academy organized a workshop titled How to Become an Effective Leader for 15 African trainees participating in a program on the modeling and river management, held in cooperation with the Research Institution of the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. The workshop hosted at the NTA aimed to strengthen participant leadership skills and prepare a new generation of African professionals capable of driving development projects across the continent. Ambassador Nermeen Zahawi, Assistant Foreign Minister and Secretary General of the EPAD, and Sou'ad Jouari, Executive Director of the NTA, engaged with participants in an interactive session reaffirming Egypt's commitment to empowering African professionals. Both officials highlighted the partnership as the exemplary model of institutional cooperation advancing Egypt's development efforts across Africa. The event concluded with the distribution of participation certificates as trainees expressed appreciation for the program's valuable insights and high level of organization.
And the Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati underlined the urgent need for sustainable financing for the African Union support and stabilization mission in Somalia, not just for Somalia's security but also for the security in the Horn of Africa, the Red Sea and the wider international community.
Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati underlined the urgent need for sustainable financing to the African Union support and stabilization mission in Somalia, not just for Somalia's security but also for the security of the Horn of Africa, the Red Sea and the wider international community. The Egyptian top diplomat pointed to the momentum generated by the United Nations Security Council's decision to lift the arms embargo on Somalia, which has enabled several countries, including Egypt, to provide direct support to the Somali National Army. He also highlighted the significance of recent steps, including debt relief measures for Somalia and its election to the Security Council. Abdelati affirmed that Egypt continues to work with the Somali government, the United Nations, the African Union and international parties to strengthen stability in Somalia. He stressed the importance of funding the mission through the African Peace Fund alongside current arrangements for deploying military, police and air units under the United Nations. Abdelati noted that some countries, including Egypt, are also shouldering additional financial burdens by deploying forces outside the mission framework to help reinforce stability, while urging partners to ensure sustainable support.
Africa is taking a bold step towards a deeper economic integration through the African Continental Free Trade Area, or the AFCFTA, the largest trade agreement of its kind in the whole world. The deal aims to create a single African market for goods and services, linking more than 50 countries and over 1.4 billion people into one powerful economic bloc.
Africa is taking a bold step towards deepening economic integration through the African Continental Free Trade Area, the largest trade agreement of its kind in the world. The deal aims to create a single African market for goods and services, linking more than 50 countries and over 1.4 billion people into one powerful economic bloc. According to the African Union, trade under the agreement has already begun between several member states under the Guided Trade Initiative, marking the start of a new chapter for intra-African commerce. Recent reports show that at the intra-African trade fair in Algiers, deals worth more than $48 billion were signed, a strong signal that momentum is building. The agreement could boost intra-African trade by more than 50%, reduce tariffs, and help local industries grow, turning Africa from an exporter of raw materials into a producer of finished goods. But experts say the road ahead won't be easy. Infrastructure gaps, customs delays, and different national regulations continue to challenge cross-border trade. Still, leaders insist that integration is the key for Africa's future, creating jobs, attracting investment, and giving the continent a stronger voice in the global economy.
And moving on to the African Bank, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, former Assistant Foreign Minister, to shed more light on the issue. Ambassador Shalaby, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ambassador, how significant is Egypt's call for the African Bank to expand its assets to $350 billion over the next decade?
Of course, the former president of African Bank has been here in Egypt
yes.
with the new chairman of the board of directors, who is going to take over for the coming period until 2030. So Egypt was very close to the achievements of the first bank chairman, and he has been very successful in his relationship with Egypt and in supporting the capabilities of the African countries to strengthen their manufacturing activities. Also, the priorities of Egypt was to, of course, the strategy for cooperation between Egypt and the bank was very much successful because of the support of this bank, because it had supported the economic growth rate and the challenges that are facing Egypt, especially in increasing the rates of the Egyptian exports and attracting investment to the Egyptian market. So this African Bank is very successful in achieving the Egypt's strategic relationship with African countries and with African institutions.
Yes. Ambassador, what does this target actually is telling us about the African growing confidence in its own financial institutions?
Yes, because the African Bank pivotal role was support the capabilities of the African countries and also its ability to improve the economic performance of these countries. So it has maximizes, it contributed to the maximizing of the benefits of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and it supported African countries' efforts in their pursuit to the goals of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Agenda 2063 for Development of Africa.
Yes. Ambassador Shalaby, actually, how would you describe the African Bank's role today in driving Africa's economic transformation?
As you know, during the past 50 years, we were always saying, how can the African countries invest together, or how can they have a free trade together? And they needed guarantees for investment, they needed guarantees for trade. And that is why this bank has been supporting and aiming at boosting trade among African countries and facilitating manufacturing and export development within the continent. That means that it increases the financial availability for commercial business between between countries in Africa.
Yes.
So Egypt is also hoping that it can boost its exports to Africa, and it can help it to localize industry in Egypt, and it can attract more. This bank can help Egypt to attract more foreign direct investment to the Egyptian market. Especially that there are opportunities, many opportunities in this field, especially if the guarantees are there.
The new strategy mentions the value addition and the intra-African trade. Actually, how crucial are these for the sustainable growth in Africa?
Of course, the African Free Trade Agreement has been in action and has been many countries has been after the launching of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Many countries have contributed to this to the aims of this free trade by opening the borders, by reducing the taxes, by opening the borders to goods and services, and also this bank has helped has continued to help these countries to play an active role and supported the Egyptian government over the past years for being active in the African continental free trade area.
Yes, indeed. Also, Ambassador, there is talk of a pan-African digital currency as well as a stable coin. Could this really change the way the African economies trade and actually connect?
Well, there are lots of talk about also having a means of communication in trade between the countries of Africa, but still this is a very far dream to be achieved, because as we have seen, the BRICS, for instance, have made it in a way so that they can slowly use the local currencies in their trade between each other, the BRICS countries, the members, I mean, of BRICS. Yeah. And of course, the African countries can join this to have also a means of trade between each other, like barter, for instance, or like using their own currencies, the local currencies. This could, of course, make it a lot easier than having the dollar as a means of trade between the African countries.
Yes. Ambassador, actually, how important is Egypt's continued support and hosting of the African Bank to its regional influence?
As you have seen, that President Sisi met with the new president of the African Export-Import Bank, and he has supported, together with the central bank governor of central bank, they have met with him, and they have congratulated him for the achievements that he has done in the first term. Mr. Dr. Orama, he has done a lot of efforts to improve the activities over the past decade, and Egypt appreciates the ongoing partnership with Afrexim Bank and the bank's effort to promote and diversify intra-African trade and enhance Africa's share of global trade. That is why Egypt is hosting this bank here in Egypt, and it plans to have a greater vision to further develop the bank and strengthen its role in the African continent.
Yes, indeed. Actually, how does this tie into Africa's broader integration efforts under the African Continental Free Trade Area? How do you see it?
Well, of course, the African countries are looking up to maximizing the benefits of this African continental free trade. And of course, also the Agenda 2030 and the Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Agenda 2063. That is why the Afrexim Bank reviewed all the bank's activities and have decided to boost trade rates among African countries and facilitate manufacturing and export development within the continent. And this is, of course, a part of the achievements of every country in the continent in order to use the bank as a guarantor for the projects that they are doing together and to get foreign investment and to have more financial availability for commercial businesses.
Indeed.
So this is like an effort to achieve comprehensive development across the countries in Africa.
Indeed. Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much for your precious input. Always a pleasure. And with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition from our program Africa Today. My name is Rabia. Many thanks for watching.